Hi, welcome to this astrology report for Monday, April 14th through Thursday, April 17th. It's an interesting and exciting time astrologically, so I'm excited to talk with you. There's been a lot going on sort of for a few months, and we're sort of beginning to wrap up some of the most intense astrology that's been going on, but there's a lot to process. And there's still a lot happening this week. I want to start with one of the most dominant aspects of the week. I know there are other planets here too that I just sort of covered up with my with my circle, but I want to start with this um, I want to start with this Saturn North Node conjunction because it's been sitting there for a while. We've been having so many we've had this whole stellium in Pisces. We've had so many planets in Pisces. You can almost get used to this as a background note, this pile up of Pisces energy that we've been having that is somewhere in everyone's chart, right? We all have this energy falling somewhere in our chart, impacting uh, perhaps planets that are there or planets that are in other placements throughout our chart that are at angles with these Pisces placements. But just to say, you don't have to be a Pisces for this to be something that matters for you. Basically, this is a chart for April 14th. And I'm also going to be talking about movements as they continue through the 17th. And this is about the sort of dominant energy of this week. Where it falls for you matters as well, but we can also just talk about big overarching themes. This Saturn North Node conjunction is a very powerful base note. It's been there for a while, right? Sort of imagine all of these planets are contributing a different note to the music of this week. And this Saturn North Node note, this stellium in Pisces note, all these different planets over in Pisces, that's been going on for a while. So that's nothing new. We might be getting used to the feeling of this base note. But Saturn in the North Node conjunction actually perfects this week. So it's a really good time to talk about it. And just to say, it's not just this week, this has been there for a while. And what it suggests is a certain seriousness to the things that we're working on right now. The things that we're working on right now, the things that we're building, that are starting, that are ending also. It's long term, it's serious, it's a big project. If something's coming to an end, it really is coming to an end. If I would say, with the exception of relationships, because Venus is retrograde right now, hidden behind my loop. But sometimes relationships can sort of come on and off the radar during retrogrades. So I mean, almost longer term structures, those things that are ending, they're for the long term. And the things that we're building are for the long term as well. There's a serious note to them. And where we go and how to get there, or at least how to start, is beginning to be apparent to us at this time. We're able to sort of take some steps right now, lay some groundwork. We have some idea, at least, of how to get started. It might not be super clear exactly where we want to go or exactly how to get there, but we know we have some sense, at least, of what to do now. There's also something about Saturn and the North Node coming together that's about taking responsibility and being honest. Taking responsibility for our part in things from the past that didn't go the way we wanted them to, that didn't go as planned, or where we didn't show up as our best selves. Being honest about that, at least with ourselves, and taking responsibility for it is in the astrology suggests that could be going on this week. It's a really good time for that. And another side of this is holding others responsible and accountable, at least within ourselves, for their parts in it. Really being able to see responsibility sort of clearly. And that may even be part of how we are able to move forward. I think with it all in Pisces like this, the very last sign of the zodiac, letting go of some of those things, letting go of what happened in the past in order to move forward, in order to create these new foundations, in order to make way for the new, would really, really be supportive. But there's a lot more to all of this than that. There are so many different things I could say about this chart. But as a writing teacher once told me, you shouldn't say everything that could be said. You should just say everything that should be said. So there's a lot of things I could say about this chart. I'm trying to limit myself to just saying those most important things that really should be said. And one thing that really should be said is that Mars is in a trine to all of these Pisces planets. I'm actually going to go ahead and expand this circle so that includes everything in Pisces a little bit more, because we have several planets there. And Mars is in sort of a loose trine to all of them as Mars begins to work its way finally out of Cancer, where he's been for 4 months. And this is providing some real energy for things that are happening right now. It's like the feminine and the masculine sides of us are in communication and in harmony, and they are for others as well. So this makes it easy to sort of get things done, to move things forward. There can really even be breakthrough energy with this. Even with it all in Pisces, there's something about how all of these personal planets have been in retrograde recently. We had Mars retrograde in Cancer. We had Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde. And finally, everything is direct. Oh, you know what? I'm just remembering earlier in the video where I mentioned something about how Venus was retrograde. Venus has turned direct now, but relationships that ended during the Venus retrograde could come back online now. But Venus has been direct for a few days. We actually have all of the planets direct right now, which is great. And we had all of these personal planets retrograde at some point in the last few months, and now they're in all in harmonious relationship with each other. Venus and Mercury, they look like they're far apart in this chart, but it's only because there's so much between them. They're really only 4 degrees apart. And they're moving forward together now toward Aries, wrapping up their time in Pisces and moving forward into Aries. And Mars is direct as well, finally moving on from Cancer, where he's been for 4 months. So not only do we have this harmonious and supportive trine from Mars, just kind of giving us a little bit of energy for what we need to do, providing some practical support. The different parts of us might be communicating with each other really easily right now. Like I said, sort of our masculine and our feminine sides, the feeling and the doing are flowing back and forth really, really easily. So it's a really great time to make progress. Also, all of the planets are direct. And this was not the case a month ago. Remember a month ago doing a video where I was talking about how many planets were in detriment. Not only were those planets retrograde, but Mars was retrograde in Cancer, a sign where he is in his fall. It's one of his least favorite places to be. Mercury in Pisces, not really the Mercury's favorite place to be. We might have felt, let's put it this way, we might have felt a lack of motivation in the last few months and a lack of clarity. A lot has been changing and shifting. We really are sort of changing eras right now, and we can see that from what's going on with the outer planets. It's the biggest shift that we've had in that sense since 2020. And it's actually a more significant shift in many ways than what happened in 2020, although I also think that they go together. But we're at an era shifting moment. And then we just had this period with a ton of Pisces Aries energy, a ton of retrograde energy. And it just might have felt hard to feel confident, hard to feel motivated, just low energy in general. And then with Mercury in Pisces, and there were some other things as well, even when the sun was in Aquarius, just sort of a blurriness, a lack of clarity, not really understanding what you want exactly, what's happening, maybe just some general confusion about what's even going on now, much less what's going on in the future. Perhaps some confusion about the past as well. There was a lot of processing with these personal planets retrograde. I think a lot of people have been reviewing relationship patterns and seeing things a little bit more clearly and reconfiguring some of their relationships to make way for new and better shifts. Now we have all the planets moving forward again, and they're in better dignities too. Aries, the sun is exalted in Aries. The sun loves to be in Aries, and Mercury soon will be there too, where Mercury's very happy. Venus is exalted in Pisces. Mars is about to move into Leo, which is going to feel like a huge relief after all this time in Cancer, where he isn't as excited to be as other times. We actually currently right now also have the moon in Scorpio just these first couple days of the week, Monday and Tuesday. And that can be a little bit heavy and deep emotionally. So the beginning of this week especially, we might feel the seriousness of it. We are feeling productive. We're feeling like we're getting a lot done. There's still some processing energy going on, but there's also a lot of moving forward happening. We're building things for the long term. We're feeling more motivated, more confident, more sure about where we're going. As we get a little bit later into the week, one really interesting thing that's going to happen is that this Mercury, I think I need to eliminate some of these things now so that we can see what I'm talking about. This Mercury right here at the end of Pisces is going to enter the sign of Aries on the 15th, tomorrow, Tuesday, and then we'll conjunct Neptune on the 17th. First, let me say the beginning of the week, while Mercury is still in Pisces, that can bring about mentally, intellectually. Mercury has so much to do with the way our heads feel, the way we're thinking, the way we're processing information, the way we're communicating. Mercury has a big impact. And in these late degrees of Pisces coming off of a retrograde, we can still be in that sort of blurry phase. It can be a little bit dreamy. There might be more clarity because we've come out of that retrograde, but there's still some processing that's happening. But we also may already be feeling this pull here from Neptune. And this is a really exciting conjunction that's coming up. So Mercury enters Aries on the 15th, and at that time will be in conjunction with Neptune. It already is, it's just an off-sign conjunction. And it will be exact on the 17th, but this Mercury-Neptune conjunction is active for 6 days, maybe 3 days on either side of the 17th. And Neptune is newly here in Aries. Neptune has not been in Aries for 160 years. And Neptune is only going to be here for a couple months before retrograding back to Pisces this fall and then returning for good in January of 26. So we're just getting a little initial preview of what this Neptune in Aries is all about. And this may be the first time that we really get to hear from Neptune in Aries with this transit. I want to reserve the right to speak on Neptune in Aries. I'm going to attach a video on the end here about why it's hard to talk about. I am going to say a few things today, but I'm only going to say a few things. because the truth is Neptune is only here for a few months. And I remember when Pluto moved into Aquarius for only a few months, we hardly noticed it, in my opinion. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know I like to draw different comparisons. I like to kind of picture the houses. So picture it this way. Imagine Neptune as a person. Let's personify Neptune, Poseidon, if you will. He's got a trident. He's of the water. He's going from one house to another. He's going from a Pisces house to an Aries house. And Neptune stays a long time in a house. He stays like 14 years in these houses when he visits them. So what's happening right now is that he packed up his things and he drove over to the Aries house. And he kind of isn't even getting out of the car. He realizes he forgot something, turns around and goes back to Pisces. So it's like we're just getting this little visit at the it's like he hasn't even gotten out of the car yet. He's not even really in the house. He is though, he's at 0 degrees. So maybe he brings some bags in, but Neptune's not all moved in yet. Neptune's not here to stay. However, during his visit, Mercury is going to come into the house as well. And this is going to give us a little bit of a taste for it because Mercury can act like a megaphone. It's like handing Neptune a megaphone or a microphone during his visit and saying, hey, how you doing? What's going on? What do you think? What do you know? What are we going to be doing? And so what I'll say is that there's something here about a mission that we might feel that might almost feel spiritual. Something that we want, something that we're going after, something that we're pointed toward that may feel like such a strong belief, may feel like such a deep drive that it almost feels spiritual. But keep an eye out for more on this. I think I might do a video later in the week more specifically about Mercury Neptune, but I don't know. I don't know if I will, because this is really all I have to say about it at this time. So at the end of the week, as Mercury is passing over to Neptune, pay attention to what really feels like it's lighting up for you. It doesn't just feel like a passion, it feels like a drive. It feels like a calling, because that might say something about where we're going. I'm going to attach a video here about some things to be thinking about as Venus retrograde ends, and also Mars leaving Cancer reflections that I just did yesterday. Those are really active this week. And if you enjoyed this video, you would enjoy those, I believe. Also, you can find all of my current active astrology videos on my channel. I just started a new playlist that I put right at the top that contains videos that are about the current active astrology, in addition to the regular horoscopes and other things that you can find there. And I'll be back soon. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for watching.